raised his hand. I think he wants to say hi.
Recording. We're on live. Hello everybody, Jason A, National Sales Manager for Mimaki Australia. Just waiting on a few more people to log in. We can see there's a couple of people in the background already. Welcome to the webinar. We're just going to start this presentation at 10:02 whilst we just wait for a few people to join us and those latecomers. We'll just wait one more minute, just wait for those people that are just coming in late. I'm not quite sure how long this presentation will go to today, but I'm hoping it'll be over and done with in about 15 or 20 minutes. We won't take up too much of your time. All right, everybody, we'll start the presentation. Welcome. My name is Jason Hay, National Sales Manager for Mimaki Australia. Today, we are talking about our cutter range, and I do have in our Victorian office our Cameron Bongart's, our Victorian Channel Manager, joining us today. And just welcome, Cam, and thanks for joining us in our presentation.
No worries. Thanks very much, Jason.
All right. So Cam brings a lot of experience to Mimaki, obviously working with our competitor and with our competitors, with our ex-dealer network, I apologise, in regards to, used to work at Cameron, used to work at Graphic Art Mart, now obviously joined us a few months ago. So Cam, just wait while I just share my screen a little bit.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so hopefully everybody can see my screen just here. All right, yeah. So welcome everybody. Today we're obviously talking about the CGSR3 Series and the FX Plus Series. I suppose more importantly, after that, we'll obviously get an introduction to Cameron Bongart. So I'll get Cam to give us a 5-minute overview of himself very shortly. Then we'll talk about obviously the cutter product overview, just a short competitor cutter product overview, and then obviously we'll open it for some questions and answers at the later end. So we'll do our webinars as we've been doing them previously. While Cam's doing his presentation, I'll be certainly there to ask Cam some questions, some curly questions, and hopefully be able to answer them for you. If not, then feel free to ask us any questions at the end of the webinar, or alternatively share them via email to Cam or myself. So Cam, welcome. If you can just come into line now in regards to just giving us a brief, obviously, history of yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Jace. So yeah, as it says there on the screen, I started in the industry just over 28 years ago, spending just under a decade as a sign writer for various sign shops and screen printing shops around the southeast of Victoria. So never actually completed a apprenticeship, but it was all self-taught and just learned from a lot of the traditional signees in the industry there. So after that, I progressed into working for some of the resellers in the industry. So my first role was to look after hardware sales, software sales, installation and training of these products. So that sort of lasted for around about 10 years with those guys. Then I moved around with a few different brands, Muto, DTG, Canon from there. And then, as you mentioned earlier, I then progressed over to Graphic Art Mart and have been there for the last 6 years there. So selling Roland, Muto, Canon, DTG, CWT, Keen Cut, and the FlexiSign programs. So a fair bit of time on that hardware sales and installation side of things. So fairly well versed in looking after our customers, in helping them find that right solution for their business through there. So, and then in very early 2020, I started with Mimaki Australia there as their Victorian sales channel manager. So looking after our reseller partners and also dealing directly with a lot of the customers out there to help them still find those right solutions and offer a whole range of support, looking after the demonstration room there, working with other people such as Barry and Aman in our textiles side of things. So look, it's been a great sort of nearly 2 years now. So really enjoying this role and working for Mimaki, and obviously with yourself, Jason, and Thomason up there in Sydney. So it's been a great 28 years. So hopefully I'll get definitely another 28 years or even more out of it. I really enjoy the industry, and I really enjoy the customers and the people that we work with in. So good bunch of people.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Cam. And obviously, there's never a webinar without some curly questions for you too. I suppose back in 1993, you decided to get into wide format or get into sign writing. Why was the choice of sign writing at that particular time?
I obviously always love to draw and be creative with fonts and those type of things. I must admit, I got a little bit into graffiti, so which wasn't the legal way to put stuff up out there. So I progressed over into the sign writing. So when I first started in the industry, the main machine that people were using was the old Gerbers. So only 381 mil wide, punched vinyl back in those days. I'm sure a lot of the people watching will remember them. Where we had to pay around $600 per font, which came in like a fairly large cassette, which was plugged into the machine. It's been great to see that progression from, vinyl cutters that didn't even actually really run a screen, just a tiny little LED, right through to where we are now with some of our equipment, the new JF600, that runs at blistering speeds. My first large format printer that I dealt with was 1 square meter an hour. And that was considered a great speed back in those days, and about a $50,000 product. From there, you can only print onto dedicated material. There was probably only about 10 or 15 different materials available in those days. Now, when you look at it, there really is a product or a media out there for any application that our end users or the consumer can throw at us. So it's been great to watch everything sort of transform to where it is today.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, it's certainly an exciting industry. We've both been in this industry for a long time, and I know if I add up the amount of years at Mimaki Australia with the personnel that actually work at Mimaki Australia, there's probably 250 years of experience at Mimaki, and I guess everybody has a reason why they've actually got into wide format. Or fell into wide format, basically as well. So I suppose my next question for you, Cam, is obviously with your experience and things like that you've seen over the last 28 years, what's the biggest change that you've seen from this industry?
Look, the biggest change for me is the evolution of UV inks. In those early days, UV ink was traditionally just for hard substrates. You couldn't really do much with it, but it were a really fantastic ink because it's curing instantly. So, as a sign writer, we'll be able to take things back then out of flatbeds and then just run it straight out to the customer, whichever we need. So, but watching those inks especially over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, evolve and now become more flexible, it really has opened up a massive range of applications for our end users. One of the great things is now, especially with our JFX series and the inks that we use in there, the LUS 150s, is being able to print on a core flute and then bend that core flute for various displays and settings around there. But then more so, the LUS 170 inks that we're using in our roll-to-roll UV machines, seeing that and the stretchability and the ability to nowadays wrap a vehicle with UV ink, which was something you'd never have believed would have happened a few years ago. But look, Mimaki have definitely mastered that flexibility in our UV ink and outdoor durability as well. So while the whole range, everything still amazes me and of where we've come in this industry, that of late the progression of UV inks in our industry has been one of the big standout points for me, and what I've been really impressed with.
Yeah, and I suppose last but not least, I mean, obviously Mimaki is a brand. I mean, obviously you've been on the other side as a channel partner of Graphic Art Mart, and obviously now with Mimaki as a direct subsidiary of Japan. What's been the biggest point of your career so far at Mimaki over the last couple of years?
Oh, look, Jason, I have to say, working with you. No, just dirty. No, look, it's really great to work for a company like Mimaki. The Japanese technology has always been a impressive point for me, and seeing what they come out with next and the way that they work on things for future references, that type of thing. Yeah. But look, one of the big points is, like you mentioned before, Jace, just the amount of industry knowledge and know-how that we have within Mimaki has been great for me, because it's helping me take it to that next level. People like yourself, Thomas Sun, Patrick, and all the other team there have got some really good industry knowledge, and certainly knowledge that I had not really sort of dealt with in before. So it's been great to share that with the group. And we've got a really good team. I think here in Mimaki Australia, that's one of the things I'm really enjoying. It's kind of like one big happy family, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, working with that side of things has been great.
That's good. No, it's nice working with you, Cam. And obviously, and I thanks and appreciate you just taking your time to obviously just give people your experience for Mimaki, and obviously your previous life before Mimaki and our dealer network. My last question in regards to Mimaki as a brand down in Victoria. I know the business has obviously grown to the point where we've got a few people down there. Can you just give us an overview of obviously your showroom size? A quick overview very quickly of what products you do have in your Victorian showroom, and what staff members we got down there.
Yeah, so look, we've got a great bunch of guys down here in Victoria. We've got Barry McCartney, who again has a many years of industry experience, very well known through the industry, and a good head full of knowledge there as well. Then we have Aman, who looks after our textile side of things. So that's been, it's been great working with him, because I've never really got involved in that textile. And I must admit, before coming to Mimaki, I didn't realise how big Mimaki were in this textile industry, and the range of machines that we have available for the industry in that side. So that's been great. Then we have our technicians. So Mark Fabiani, as most people probably would know, he's been around the industry for many decades, working as a technician for a couple of the other big brands in the industry. And then we have Kuldeep, extremely awesome guy, really good at what he does, just gets in, gets the job done. Always happy to lend a hand. And Sam as well. Sam's a ripper. We get a lot of good feedback from our customers with the service, and just his general nature. He's a very polite, well-mannered guy as well. But all three of those techs have got a lot of good knowledge on how to get things back up and running if it ever pops up for a customer. So, showroom side of things, look, it's a ripper showroom. We have a fair bit of space there. We have 2 UV roll-to-rolls. We have latex. We have our solvent. We have our desktop UJF flatbed series. We have JFX. We have a big range of the textile machines, laminators, 3D printers, cutters, the whole lot. So customers can come down and really get a good overview of our range. But one of the biggest things for me, and I love about it, is a lot of people these days are unsure, do I go latex, do I go solvent, or do I go UV? So we're one of the only places, and I believe one of the only manufacturers that do all three of those ink technologies. So customers can come into our showroom and we can show them latex versus UV versus solvent. That way they can walk away sort of, knowing that they've had a good overview of all the different ink technologies, and make a really good informed decision of which direction they're going to take their business in next. So, to all those that are watching from Victoria, more than welcome to come down at any stage. Just give us a call and we'll run you through our showroom and show you what we've got available. So.
Yeah, thanks for that, Cam. And obviously, just in regards to a brand perspective in Australia, and I mean, Mimaki's obviously growing, and 6 personnel alone down in Victoria for Mimaki is quite a huge presence for this printing industry. And I suppose having showrooms in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and I think one of the things that really stands out for me is what you just said before, is the ink technology that Mimaki, which is obviously done in our previous webinar with Timitsu Arata-san. It showcases that we do have that full gamut of ink technology, which enables customers to actually make that choice on whether they're actually going to go latex, solvent, or UV. So I appreciate your time, Cam, to explain that to us. And I guess we'll now start the presentation. I'll just move over to the next slide for you, if I can. It's like obviously always technology. Here we go. So Cam, I mean, obviously, not only we wanted to obviously utilize your skill set at Mimaki, but we obviously know that you've got a sound knowledge and understanding of the Cutter series, obviously from your previous life. As you said before, you have worked at Graphic Art March, which was a dual channel partner for us. But I suppose more importantly, that you do know the previous brand or the competitor brand as well as the Mimaki brand. We've obviously got 2 levels of cutters. I'm not going to steal your thunder here. I'm going to actually get you to go over the next few slides, and I'll ask some questions as we're going through.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks very much, Joe. So, yeah, so look, it's great to have these 2 levels. So we have our, as it says, a really affordable entry level machine, but still, feature packed, can do, what every other cutter can do out there, plus some more. So, but where the SR3 series really fits in, it's really, like I said, that entry level, good price, really good bang for buck out of these machines, especially the SR360. I've lost track of how many of those units we ship out on a weekly basis, especially down here in Vic, and I know that's the same for the guys in the other states as well. So, really good model, really good for those, especially for those experienced signees, and also for those people that are just looking at getting into the industry as it comes with some software, which we'll go through in a little bit from there. Then the FX Plus series is really that sort of pro series, that really robust machine, great for really long length cuts. It's, the ability to cut 10 meters highly accurately is a big plus for this industry through there, and having the 3 sizes available. So most commonly we see the 160s. The most popular out of those 3, just given that the vehicle wrap industry these days, most of the materials are now available in 1500, and we also obviously have a range of 1600 wide print only machines, so they go really well hand in hand, as well as the 130 SR. We're still selling a lot of those units that are going up and being put next to print only machines, not just our brand, but other brands as well. So, and which is great. We have that ability our customers have that ability to buy these machines and match with our printer or any other printer out there in the market. So look, and on top of that, we have a great range of cutting devices, from that 610 right through to our big flatbed cutters that we have out there, and seem to be moving a lot of lately. But we'll just sort of focus on this roll-to-roll space today. So if you could jump to that next slide for us, Jace.
All right, Cam. It's always nice to have 5 different cutting models in our portfolio of products. I will come over to the next slide now. It's just a little bit slow with regards to technology for me on this side. All right, Cam, just give us an overview of, obviously, we'll start with the CGSR3 series, which has been around for quite a long time for Mimaki. And I guess probably one of our core products of cutters that we actually do sell. So I'll let you start here.
Yeah, look, so this is an area, I mean, Mimaki do everything well, but the cutting side of things, Mimaki do extremely well. I think we may have first came out with a plotting device in the early 80s. I think it was 1984, probably, I think around there. Yep. So, a lot of research and development has been put into these machines, and a lot of industry research, feedback from customers on a global basis. So we've really developed a great machine here. And a couple of the big standout points for me, one is as you'll see on both of these models, we have an exceptionally wide acceptable sheet width there. So we, not just for the Australian market, but for a global market, there's many different medias, and obviously they all come in different widths and sizes. So we can accommodate a large audience there. But more importantly for our customers is the effective cutting areas. So in this area here, we typically have the largest cutting area. So, you know, if you look at a 610 sheet, we're using about 99.3% of a 610 roll of vinyl. So what that means for our customers is they're getting to utilize that material to its highest extreme from there. And the same with the 1300. So 1370 wide, typically we're quite larger than most of our competitors, or if not all of our competitors out in the market space. The next one obviously is a speed. You know, this day and age, the way some of, you know, the demand from the consumer is quite large. So having that faster speed, being able to produce things, turn around. No, it doesn't sound like much of the when you look at it, you know, 700 compared to some of our competitors, which are only 500 or 600. But you add that up over a couple of rolls of vinyl, there's some pretty big time savings in there. Cutting pressure is a big important one, and I do love this about the Mimaki machines. At 500 grams of down pressure, it's substantially heavy. So the beauty of that is we can accommodate a lot of thick, heavy duty rubber sheets, sandblast sheets, and obviously with the increased side of heavy duty heat transfer materials, you know, for that sort of specialized look on a garment, we can, you know, quite easily cut any of those products. It just gives our consumers a wider application of materials that they can run there. So probably, you know, for most of the consumers out there, that warranty is a big standout point. I could be wrong, but I don't believe there is anyone else in the market space that has a 2-year warranty based on vinyl cutters. Typically, they're all around about 1 year. So, and that's from time of install. So, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, a lot of our, as you know, Jace, a lot of our resellers like to keep stock. So that stock can be sitting there. That warranty will start the day that it's actually installed from there. So that's, you know, that shows the confidence that we have in our product, that we're willing to back it for 2 years quite easily from there. So, yeah, like I sort of mentioned, those advantages that we have over our competitors: wider cutting widths, faster speeds, especially in the SR3, the ability to cut the curves in a high quality at a high speed is quite a big standout as well from there. So a couple of the features which Mimaki have really taken to the next level. So most cutters can do, you know, your standard crop mark detection, that side of things, but we do take it to the next level with our segmented compensation, intermediate crop marks, which is run in the feed direction. So that allows us to have that high accuracy over really long lengths of cut, given the ability to put all of those extra crop marks in there. Even if that image is distorted, it's going to cut it exactly as it should be cut, and it needs to, and it'll make that compensation for any distortion that may come about from laminating and that type from there. One of the other little features I like about this unit too is that it's not seen in our competitors, is ability to adjust the pressure of our clamps, our media clamps in there. So the benefit to this is it allows us to put material into the machines. It's around about 1.5 mil in thickness. So typically most vinyl cutters will stop at about that 0.8 mil and not be able to accommodate above that, or you have to go into the high level, the really expensive cutters, even sometimes flatbed cutters, to be able to do that. So that's a big standout point. But the flip side to that is we can actually lower the pressure. So for those materials that are sensitive, and I'm sure a lot of people watching have experienced this, when you get that pinch roller wheel mark running through the middle of your vinyl, we can lower that pressure to reduce that, or to minimize that particular issue that some people come across. So some really good features. Half cutting, which a lot of people would know probably as perf cut or half cut or sticker cut, decal cut, some people even call it. So what that allows us to do is to actually cut through not only the self-adhesive material, but the release liner as well. But what it'll do is it'll leave little tabs at your desired sort of segments. You can tell it, you know, I want it every 25 mil for half a mil. So that keeps the matrix of the vinyl together and allowing us, for it to roll backwards and forwards and not getting jammed up, and just keep that nice clean cut. That way a customer can then produce, doesn't have to provide their customer with an awkward sheet of stickers. Every one of them is individually cut, looks nice and neat, customers impressed, easy for them to distribute. So yeah, really big benefit from there. couple of little extra things on top of that is our overcut function. So what the overcut function, and again, a lot of people have seen this in some of our competitors' machine, is the start and finish point don't always match perfectly, and you get little nicks and little tabs, and that can make weeding very, very difficult, and it's most certainly frustrating for people. So our overcut will actually just go that little bit further and make sure that those start and finish lines are perfectly matched together, so you don't have any issues with the weeding side from there. So obviously just helping, all these little things just add up to reducing the amount of labour time that people can spend weeding and doing that side. The corner cut function is a really good one as well. Again, people have probably noticed in previous years and with certain brands that you don't get that really nice 90-degree sharp corner on a lot of things, just due to certain offsets and the way some blades work, and just the resolution of some of the cutting machines out there just can't quite get that. So what we do is we just have that sort of like a slight overcut as well, so it'll extend some of those corners just to keep that nice and sharp from there. So they come with bundled software, but we'll go through that a little bit. I've got a couple of slides there on that side of things there, Jace. So have you got any questions on that particular model? Or?
Oh, look, I mean, I think from my perspective, the things that stand out for me the most is the 2-year warranty. I know we certainly don't talk about it when we actually, go to the customers. We do cutting demos and things like that. But it's sort of a peace of mind to the end user. That 2 years warranty is basically peace of mind from for them for the next 2 years, that they've obviously bought a good quality product, and we obviously back our brand as well. Like you said, our competitors do offer a 12-month warranty, but Mimaki does offer a 2-year warranty on our cutter range, which is something that's very unique for us in our market here in Australia. The other thing, obviously, the things too is that the continuous crop mark detection. Which, like I said, a couple of nice little features that our competitors don't have, which is quite nice. So for an entry-level machine, it certainly has its right of opinion in regards to its price range and things like that. And I think it's very good value for money, the CGSR3 series. So I thank Cam for that one. Just go over to the FX Plus series, and just get you to give us an overview, obviously, of the Plus series.
Yeah, look, so probably the easiest way, a quick way to describe this is your SR series is your V6 and your FX2 is your V8. So same device, but just really ramped up. It's got a few extra features, and one of the big features I'll go through in a second. But again, if you have a look at those that little chart across the top there, we have that really big media width that we can accept through there, right up to 1880. In our 160 series. I just noticed there that it still says 130, but that is a 160 at the end there. So, yeah, and that effective cutting area, again, we can get pretty much the full width of most rolls out there. So a lot of your materials are 1520 or 1600. So we can really utilize the full width of the material. 1400 millimeters per second. So it's absolutely blistering speeds out of these machines here. So really great, especially with this machine, because a lot of our customers are doing long length cuts, 10-meter cuts in one hit, and want to just get that stuff out the door pretty quickly. So having those speeds over those areas is substantial. And again, I think we're sort of the leaders in that side of this side of the cutting parts. So maximum cutting brush, again, 500 grams. It's like I said before, it really opens up some wider applications for that. Sandblast materials and heavy duty materials. 2-year warranty, again, Jace, we've just spoken about that, but that is still a good plus. And obviously for us as well, having technicians down here in Victoria and a showroom, our customers aren't required to pack up their machine and then send it back to, say, like a head office or somewhere in Sydney to have it repaired. So we can reduce that downtime. If anything does go wrong for our customers, we can really minimise the amount of time there without a cutter, so to speak, to have it repaired. Most of the time, we're probably going to get it all repaired and sorted on site anyway. So big plus for us there. So again, the advantages are similar, but just boosted up a little bit from the SR series. So wider cutting widths, cutting speeds, pressures, longer length cut. So this is the beauty of the FX series. If you want to cut a 10 meter, we'll cut a 10-meter job, with that accuracy and not running out of track or anything. The ID cut function, Jace, is an absolute ripper for us here. So what ID cut will do for us is allow our customers to minimize their intervention. So let's say, for example, we do a whole heap of printing on one of our machines, print-only machine. We'll tell it to put the barcode into that print. That barcode will then contain, all the information about the cutting job, north, south, east, west, so the orientation of it. Now, we could have a 50-meter roll full of various different jobs. Every one of them will have a barcode. When we put it into the FX series, all we've got to do is just say to the FX machine, just find this first barcode. Once it finds that barcode, it'll then go to your PC, the customer's PC, receive all the data, throw it into the cutter. The cutter that will then cut. Now, to this stage, the end user can walk away from the machine, because what the FX will start to do then is search for the next barcode. As soon as it finds another barcode, it'll download the data from the PC. It'll just keep doing that until it actually runs out of barcodes. So, I mean, if there were ever such a thing as, 200-meter rolls of vinyl, it'd just track through that whole 200 meters, finding each one of those barcodes, getting the right job, bring it down, getting it cut for the customer. So minimal intervention by the end user is a great thing, especially for some of those small sign shops, even the big busy sign shops where they just want to kind of chuck it in the machine, get that done, and then move over to their other jobs or go, install machines on site. This thing will just keep plugging away in the background. And it also reduces the amount of media wasted. So there's a lot of little different things we can set in there to minimize the space between each job, etc., sort of things. So I know, Jace, you've been a big fan of the ID cut since we've brought it out in all our Plus models. So
yeah,
have you got any questions on that particular part?
Look, I think one thing I'd just like to reiterate to our viewers watching today is that majority of our new machines, whether it's a printer only or a print and cut, like the UCJV, the UJV100, the JV100, and the CJV300 Plus, all have this particular feature for our end users. And again, I think one thing that stands out for me is peace of mind, is that those people that may be working 2 shifts, and for instance, you're printing during the day and you want to cut at night, what the ID cut enables the end user to do is have that peace of mind, is that it doesn't, if they don't know, if they've taken it out, they've let it degassed, laminated it and put it back in, the peace of mind that they can actually, like you said, put it in upside down, whatever, the actual ID cut is actually on all the 4 corners, which makes it very easy for customers to use and make sure that they actually don't waste cutting, because we know that sometimes you can put the cut in upside down. But the ID cut has certainly been something that's, when we're doing our demonstrations, we certainly do show customers what it does mean to them and the easiness that we've actually brought to them. But it is something that is available. It's available on our CF22 range. It's available on all our printers these days, and no doubt with new products coming out. And innovative, obviously, what Mimaki does. Whether they make this feature even better, I'm not quite sure how they would do that, but I suppose more importantly, it will be available on all our printers and printers, standalone printers, and print and cut. So yeah, that's quite good. Just in regards to Cam, you can answer this question. Obviously, the previous model CG60SR3, and I'm just going to pick on the CG75FX2. That cutting speed, one's 700 millimeters per second. This one's 1400. I suppose from our viewers' perspective, I mean, I know it's twice as fast and things like that, but what does that actually mean to an end user?
Well, look, Josie, if you have a look at it, I mean, if we're just cutting a small A4 piece of design or whatever it may be, you might not notice that difference in there. But I think I mentioned earlier, you put that over hundreds and hundreds of meters of cutting every year, the amount of time. So basically, it's 50% faster. So you can imagine how much time you would save on a weekly, daily, monthly, yearly basis through that. And it just means, again, with that less intervention that we have there, customer can just throw it in, ID cut will do it. It'll cut it at those blistering speeds, get it all done at 50% faster than our lower model there, and obviously a lot faster than our competitors. Now, that is a max cutting speed, Jay. So, just for those people watching that may have not used too many cutters before, you can change that to whatever speed you want. You can slow it right down to sort of, 100 millimeters per second. So if you're cutting delicate material or really heavy duty material, you do want to slow it down so you get a very nice clean cut. All your standard self-adhesive vinyls will cut at high speeds, no worries. But obviously a sandblast material that's 1 mil thick, you want to slow it down a little bit through there. So it's all user variable, which is a great thing. So
yep.
Just jump one of the things, Jace, back to the ID cut. I had a customer recently that was using a previous or another brand of cutter. So when they did all their print, let's say they've printed 25 meters, it goes onto the take-up roller. Now, to get that to work in their cutter, they had to then put that on a bench and re-roll it back the opposite way because, as you imagine, when you're going onto a take-up roller, the last job is the first job for a cutter.
Yeah.
So then they had to re-roll all of that, and which obviously can be a pain in the butt sometimes. So, but now what they've said to me with the ID cut, they can just throw it in because it knows the orientation, it knows which job to pick, straight off the take-up roller, through a laminator, or even if it's just a print only, no laminate, they can just chuck it straight in the cutter and it'll just run. So again, another little area where it might save you per job 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but over a year, it's a substantial saving for a lot of these people. So
yeah. Thanks for that, Cam. Obviously, you got Pouncing Kit there. I mean, we've talked about half cut and overcut before, and obviously the software, which we'll go through quickly at a later date. But just give us an idea of what the Pouncing Kit is.
Yeah, so look, a Pouncing Kit for the old school signies, the traditional brushies that are watching at the moment, they'll get a really, this is a big benefit for those guys. So what it basically does is we can feed through like just a paper stock. The Pouncing Kit will then punch little holes all around the design. So, if you've got the logo Mimaki, it'll just run around the edge like a vinyl cutter, but punching holes through the paper. So what happens from there is that signee will then put that bit of paper up against the wall, tape it up, and then essentially some people will do it. There's a few different ways to do this, but you'll have a bag full of sort of chalk dust and you'll bang that over where all those little holes are. What that then does is leaves that impression of the Mimaki logo, say on the brick wall. You then take the paint off and then the brush, you can then just write it in there. So it's a bit of a hard one to explain, but hopefully that makes sense. So basically it just puts let's just say like a stencil or a tracing onto the wall very accurately because it's obviously done with our machine from there. So another really good little kit that we have in there that I forgot to mention in that slide there, Jace, is we have our reflective kit.
Yep.
Reflective kits are really great. So a lot of people, watching and just everyone in the industry knows that a lot of reflectives, because they're thick and heavy duty, they don't sit always 100% flat on that bed of the cutter. So they'll sort of buckle up a little bit just to the nature of how thick they are, and obviously having a layer of that glass for the reflective side. What that'll do on most standard cutters is as that blade is in the up position moving around to cut the next letter, it will actually still score that surface and put a scratch through that surface. Now, in a reflective, and particularly on safety vehicles, those type of things, it's a really annoying little thing to have happen. It looks messy. The customer's going to look at it and think, "What are these guys doing?" They've got scratches all over it. So what a reflective kit does is it puts extra pinch rollers into your machine, say on the FX series, extra pinch rollers. But there's also another little device that sits right near the cutting blade that actually pushes down the vinyl, so the vinyl stays dead flat on the bed. Making sure that it's well away from that blade when it's in the up position, not scoring or scratching the surface from there. So we've put a few of those kits out there with these machines. Guys in the motorcycle graphics industry, they love it because while they're not cutting with reflective, they've got heavy duty materials, that really nice glossy laminate over the top. You get one of those little scratches in there, and you can be sure that the end user is probably going to reject it. So spending a little bit of extra money on a kit like this just prevents all of those things from happening again. Just helps our customers just get through their day without any troubles and just nice and easy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Cam, thanks for giving that. I think it gives our customers and our dealer network the peace of mind, I guess, in regards to what actually comes with an actual cutter. Obviously, the Pouncing Kit and obviously the EGP kit as an upgrade. I mean, the Pouncing Kit's obviously standard, but the EGP kit is an upgrade, but it is actually only available up until the CG130 FX Plus series. But I suppose for the reflective vinyl, it may or may not come in those particular sizes or that particular size, but it is actually quite common for the reflective kits, but it is actually only available in the 130 FX Plus size.
Yeah. So sorry,
Yeah.
Jace, with that pouncing kit on the FX series, we another clever little idea from the engineers over there is they've actually got two cutting strips. So we have a soft cutting strip and a hard cutting strip. So the hard cutting strip is what everyone's used to. It's on all cutters out there. So just your little Teflon strip. But the soft cutting strip is utilized for the pouncing side of things and also for that half cut. So when we're cutting all the way through and pouncing, we're not wearing out our blades and our accessories there because they're going onto a hard surface. So this makes a really big difference there, and obviously extends longevity of blades and pouncing kits from there. So.
Yeah, I mean, Cam, before we get into obviously the blade side and the software side, in regards to installation, I know in our YouTube channel we've got a couple of videos set up in regards to the installation by our end users. I mean, from your perspective, is it actually quite easy to actually install these cutters yourself? I mean, for those people who could be in Darwin or somewhere where we actually don't have any technical engineers. How's the actual installation process, taking this out of the box, putting it together, and obviously some tutorials that we've obviously got in our YouTube channel? Is it actually quite easy?
Yeah, look, it is. It's very straightforward. I mean, I always suggest to people that they just have a quick look at our YouTube channel just to get a quick overview of what they're going to be doing. But it really is just follow the bouncing ball, Jace. You know, drop your CD in there. Like most software, it'll tell you what to do next. But setting up these machines, obviously the manuals are very well detailed in there, but setting them up, getting your blade in is a piece of cake. It's I've always been quite impressed, even from my days at Graphic Art Mart, the ability to be able to sort of sell these to our customers without an install. I mean, obviously we have installs available for those who want us to do that side of things, but they're a very straightforward machine to put together. The stands are really easy to put together. So putting the roll holder on is super straightforward, especially on the FX series. From there, one of the beauties about those roll holders for the FX, Jace, is that we actually have the ability to put 6 roll holders onto that machine. So if you want to keep 6 rolls of vinyl on there, we can do that. If you're, in your installation, you're in a smaller office, you don't have a lot of room, you can actually put the roll on the front of the machine and have it feed from the front. And then So for those that don't want to sort of have to climb behind the machine or have it sort of sitting, just a little bit off the wall, they can leave it up against the wall and load from the front. So there's, we're mentioning all these points here, but there are also many, many other little sort of things in the background that will just help people with those installs and the day-to-day operation. But, installs, to be honest with you, I could probably throw one of these in front of my kids and get the kids to install it. They are that straightforward. So
with 28 years experience, mate, no doubt. All right. So, So Cam, obviously, let's just go to the next slide now. And obviously, there's a multitude of blades that Mimaki sell for our customers and our end users. Sorry, for our dealers and our end users. I suppose just give me an overview of obviously the standard blade that comes with the actual cutter, with all our cutters. And I suppose from our listeners' peace of mind, just give us an overview of the 2 of the most common blades that are sold that aren't actually given to you when you purchase the machine.
Yeah, so if for the people viewing, if you look at the bottom there, the SPB0030 is the standard blade that comes with all our CG devices. So look, it's a good all-rounder blade. It's standard self-adhesive vinyls, all of those sort of products, but nothing heavy duty through there. You'll get a long lifespan out of it. It's hard to sort of put that on there, but I've seen users with blades go from anywhere from 6 to 12 to 18 months through there. It all depends on how you look after your blades and obviously the material that you're cutting. But that first blade that you'll get plenty of cutting out of that. And when it is time to replace it, they're a very inexpensive product to buy. I mean, $103 for 3 blades. That could potentially be 3 years worth of cutting for some people there at $103, or sort of $35 per blade. It really is nothing from there. So with the other blades, probably the other most common blades we see is the reflective blade. Is a very, very common device. They're really heavy duty. it's particularly the 0006. It's got a titanium coating on there. So it is designed to cut through reflective day in, day out. And obviously it'll have minimal wear. It'll last an extremely long time. You'll see there that it has a very different offset. And obviously what that offset does is just allow it to cut through those thicker materials, finish those corners off nice and neat with a lot of ease. The other common blade that people will revert to is the PVC and paper blade, the SPB 001. So again, it's a standard kind of blade, similar to the one that comes with the machine, but this is a little bit more durable. Obviously, when you start to push the pressure of this blade, it's very, very difficult to break that tip off there. So look, they're all good all-rounder blades. They've all got really good purpose in there. The rubber sheet blade for that sandblast, you can see up to 0.8 mil thick material it will cut. Again, that's fairly exceptional compared to some of our competitors. But for those watching at the moment, if you scan that QR code on the side there, that'll take you to a YouTube video that'll give you a really good description, a really good overview of all our blades in there. So, and as well, after scanning that code, you'll find a plethora of other videos and things on our website or on our YouTube channel from there. So yeah, look, so to sum that up, Jace, a really good range of blades for cutting all types of materials and size. Obviously the small lettering blade there is what you're going to use for cutting those tiny little annoying letters to weed, but that'll do a really good job of that. And the cost of them, as you can see, we average about $103 for 3 blades, which is, again, a really good price in the industry for what it's worth.
So Cam, just in regards to your experience, do people have multiple blade holders, or do they actually just change the blade when required?
Oh, look, most people will buy that secondary blade holder from there. So it does make things a little bit easier, but to change a blade, Jace, is very straightforward. Yep. It's not a complicated or a scientific job that you got to do. It's very easy to work out. To adjust your blade so it's sticking out of the holder enough is very easy, just with our little adjusters on top from there. So I guess if you were cutting, often shifting between standard vinyls and reflectives, you would have those two set up. It'd just make things nice and quick. But if you're generally cutting, 70, 80% of the time standard vinyls and the rest of reflective, you could quite easily just change it in the nick of time and away you go. So
cool. Yeah. All right, Cam, thanks for the a quick overview of obviously the blades. I know we sell more blades than that, and if anybody's looking for a full list of blades that we do sell, I know you put a nice little presentation together, which we couldn't show everybody today, but feel free to reach out to any of our channel managers across Brisbane City, Melbourne. Any viewers, I know that not watching from Perth at the moment, they're probably still asleep, but I mean, feel free to send me the email from Perth, and we'll send that particular list out to you in regards to what each and every blade does for our end users. So thanks for that, Cam. We don't have too many slides to go. I know we've only got 4 slides to go, but obviously we do sell software which does come standard with all our cutter range. I suppose just a quick overview of the Simple Cut, and then we'll go through Fine Cut.
Yeah, so Simple Cut is a great offering, because all that end user really needs is a computer. Chuck it in. This software is out of the box. It's included with the machine. You can do all your designs. You can do all your cutting. As you can see from here, it comes with a lot of really good features in there. So it's quite an advanced program, Jace, for a startup package. It's got a lot of features in here that you just don't often see in these included in the box kind of software packages. So look, my transition into this, obviously I'd used only a couple of times, but being on, the Flexi Signs and the other sort of big industry programs, jumping onto this was really straightforward, very easy learning curve, and a lot of really good features in there. So for those watching and for those that are wanting just to get into this side of the industry, whether it just be, producing small home decals for bits and pieces, or, wanting to get into the industry, it's a perfect program to kick things off without any added expense. Comes with a number of templates, logos, those sort of things, as you can see there. The other thing that I love about it is you can import JPEG and scanned images, and you can rasterize that through the program. Again, which is not something that's often found in basic software.
Nice. Okay, and Fine Cut?
Yeah, Fine Cut is an absolute ripper. I've really enjoyed working with this side of things. So what Fine Cut will do for us, Jace, is it'll turn our Illustrator or our Corel Draw into an actual cutting program. So that plugin that you can see on the screen is what will be set in the corner of Illustrator or Corel Draw. You'll go about doing your designs as you normally do, and then using, as you can see, there's a whole heap of features there. We can then actually output to our vinyl cutters. So plenty of good little logos there, nice and easy to read. So, you know, we can throw things in. We can use it to create shadows, weeding lines, work with the stroke weights and the overlap side of things, even trapping, which is really good, so that we can have those vinyl overlaps all nicely laid out, you know, not big ugly lines through the middle of jobs from there. Quick basic things like contour cut out of this is great. So if we've got a full color image that we're going to print, that actual function will quite quickly and easily put a contour cut line around your JPEG image or whatever it may be in there. So really good little feature. Registration mark creation is a really important one. And this is, I find, you know, from talking to our users, this is the one that is commonly used. So we could do a design, let's say, Jason, in Illustrator, put those registration marks out on it, print it out, because it'll put those rego marks into the artwork. We can print that out on any printer we want. You can even print it out on your little A4 desktop and then put it into one of our cutters, and it'll contour cut it extremely accurately, reading those registration marks. So because it puts it into part of the design, it doesn't matter what printer you're actually using to print that image out. It'll just put those in there, and then Fine Cut plugin will read those marks and do what it needs to do. So, you know, whether it be, you know, someone that's got a Canon large format and an Acus-based printer in there, you know, like some of the shops do out there, not so much in the signage, but they can then turn that into a print and cut setup.
Yeah.
So
cool. I think there's one thing I just need to tell our viewers, most and foremost, is that when we do come into our plugin tools for Fine Cut and Corel Draw, is just not to work with the latest Fine Cut 9 doesn't work with the latest version. So, for instance, Adobe Illustrator 2022 or InDesign, whatever it's called, 2022, it only works with 2021 at the moment. So don't go up and upgrade and make sure that you cut the software doesn't, physically work. You just got to make sure, speak to Mimaki again to make sure that the Fine Cut and the Simple Cut does work for those viewers that are actually watching, to make sure before you actually upgrade to the latest version, because what I do find is that we are probably around about three to 6 months behind the upgrade, but just making sure that I just wanted to make viewers aware that before you upgrade to Adobe 2022, just make sure that you talk to Mimaki first. I know it's out already. Just make sure you talk to Mimaki first, and we'll do our best to make sure we can give you the up-to-date data on it. But Fine Cut and Simple Cut, obviously these are standard softwares that do come with our cutters. I think it's probably one of the things that actually makes Mimaki stand out is not only do you obviously get the actual product, but we do obviously supply the tools, which enables it to be easy used and for our end users, regardless of where you are around the country. So it's Cam, thanks for giving us an overview of the software that comes through it.
That's right. I'll just point out on that, Jace, the Simple Cut only comes with the SR3 range.
Yep.
And one of the reasons why Mimaki Japan does it this way is because it's typically those that aren't in the industry, that's what they're buying, is those the smaller machines or the entry level machines. So, and they won't have software already. So that's why we give them those options. We find that the FX series is obviously commonly purchased by people that are already running in the industry. So they'll have their Adobe Illustrators and that side. So we don't put an unnecessary software package in there. So and one of the reasons we do this as well is just to help keep that price at a good price level. So
yeah, thanks for that, Cam.
That's
all right. Just on our next slide, obviously we do have our competitors, and what we wanted to do is just obviously give our viewers a brief overview of obviously the things that stand out for us on the Mimaki series versus our competitor. And this is not a say, he say, you say sort of things. These are just common knowledge things that makes us stand out. We've got Tomo's son in the background who will share his screen. Yep. All right, so got Thomas on there. So Cam, just give us obviously a point perspective. We won't mention the brand's name or anything else like that, but I guess from our perspective, there are 3 or 4 points there, but just go through those quickly for us, mate.
Yeah, look, so the big point is this ID cut function again. It really is taking those standard crop marks to that next level and just reducing that user intervention. So that's a really big standout feature you don't find in our competitors. The other thing is the guaranteed cutting length. And for those watching and for people out there in the industry will know that, you know, those machines that just can't cut more than those couple of meters, 4 meters, whatever it may be, becomes quite frustrating. Because often, you know, you put it in, you might not always remember that cut is only guaranteed for that sort of length of cut, and they'll come back to their job and corners aren't matching, letters are out of shape, it's a little bit out of whack from there. So for us to put that guarantee on 10 meters, that's a really big thing and just such a big bonus for our consumers of this of our products. So again, that pouncing tool is a really big thing. So while it is an optional extra, it's a big added bonus. But one of the things I like about what comes with our machine is a basic pen. So if you're just wanting to do pen layouts, so onto your paper, those pens and the pen holders are all stock standard in our machine. Again, no one else in our industry does that type of thing. So where people use those pen layouts, Jace, is often, you know, when they're doing 3D acrylic letters, putting them up on a wall, they'll just plot it all out so they've got all their spacing and everything worked out straight from there. The other thing is, it might not sound like much, but a 30 meg buffer is great because the machine can hold a lot of data. This day and age with some of the computers, how fast they are, it can send that data quite fast across to the machine. Our machine can accept that data at those speeds and hold a fair bit in its memory so that we're not having any sort of lag in cutting or jobs waiting for the next lot of data to come down. So it's not highlighted in there in yellow, but our effective cutting areas are quite impressive, and our maximum media widths are very impressive as well. So in that FX range, you know, we really do excel in a lot of these areas. From there. So I'm not sure if Tomo wants to add any more to that as well, or.
Oh yeah, this is Tomo. Thanks for calling me. And I just want to go through probably the most important thing is the cutting acceleration besides the speed. Like a speed works for the when you are really dragging the one big line for 10 meters or even 45 degrees. The line, the straight line, but most of the people does, except for doing a paint protection film application, the most of the people is doing like an either decal or the stickers or cutting the line, cutting the curved line and so on. So as long as you go to curved line, the cutting speed, which is the millimeter per second, doesn't really mean anything. But an acceleration is who makes like a from cut. The cut blade touch down to the media to start cutting line for the curve line is what's more important, I guess, for this production cutting process. So max acceleration, the Mimaki's CGFX Plus is second to none speed. So if you are in demo, you can really find out how fast it is. So even for me, I work on the CGFX Plus for probably every week. And for print and cut job, or even for only the cutting job, I'm really impressed every time I see it. It's just fast. So that's the point I'd like to pick up as most important.
Yeah, if you look at that, our speeds that we have, and even on that next page down, Tomo, if you can scroll through to that, it'll show you that we're on average about 60% faster than our competitors. And again, if you look at some of those times up in that right-hand corner, you add that up over a year, over years, whatever you want, there is a massive amount of savings in time there. At 1.5 times those speeds, that's a real standout. As you scroll down through, you'll see those reliable long length accuracy cuts that we can do. With the ruler showing you there where our cut errors sit compared to some of our competitors as well. So this is very important. especially when you're doing multi-layers, multi-overcuts. You want everything to be perfectly sized so it all perfectly lines up. There's nothing worse than getting out on site and putting a few colours up and then realising one of them is out of whack. It just adds extra time, extra labour to those jobs from there. So, yeah, a lot of really good features in that side of things when we go with our accuracy and our speed.
I mean, obviously, no doubt, we've obviously still got the 2-year warranty as well. When we are talking to customers and viewers who are obviously looking at purchasing these machines, the thing that stands out for me with cutters is that, from our customers' perspective, is that the cutters are almost identically the same price. All right, I know the CGSR3. That one there, we're far better priced than our competitors with a 2-year warranty, and obviously you get all the software and everything else like that. But when you start getting into the larger and the FX Plus series versus our competitors, they are almost identically the same price. So those features that we've obviously just said, then the accuracy, the speed, the ID cut, the 2-year warranty, all those things. Obviously, the customers may or may not be aware, but I suppose the first and foremost is that we do have these cutters in our showrooms in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, to make sure that the viewers can obviously test these particular cutters themselves. But they may actually, like you said, Cam, previously in the presentation, is that there's a lot of you may or may not have bought a Mimaki printer and the printer's still working. You obviously need a new cutter. Is that our software does work and we can obviously print those things out. But making sure that they do go out and obviously test the features that we're obviously talking about today that are available on the Mimaki cutting series.
Yeah, definitely. It is, Jason. This is, I mean, we're, for me working for Mimaki, we're lucky to have showrooms all up and down the eastern board there. So, it gives the customers the ability to come in. They want to spend half an hour, bring some of their own work in there, and we'll show them where all these features and advantages and benefits will actually give them that sort of little bit of an edge over their competitors, I guess, as well. So,
yep. No, that's good. All right, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. And Tomo-san, I'll just get you to. That's okay. Perfect. And we'll leave it there anyway. Obviously, yep. That's the end of our presentation for Mimaki and our presentation on cutters. And I do thank our viewers for joining in and having a look at obviously with the Mimaki solution when it comes to our cutter series in our entry level as well as our plus series. If any of our viewers have obviously got any questions, I know there's a few people online and I do appreciate you taking that time, but we do obviously put this particular presentation up on our YouTube channel, on Tomo-san's YouTube channel and Mimaki's YouTube channel, Mimaki Australia's YouTube channel. But if anybody's got any questions, feel free to put your little hand up. We will be able to open a line up to either let you talk or video. It's up to you guys. If you don't have any questions, we'll just wait here for 2 more minutes, and if not, then we'll just call it an end to the presentation. But I do thank you. I thank you, Cam, for giving us a brief overview of your history and I suppose the reasons why you joined Mimaki. And I do certainly thank you for that. Tomo-san, I do thank you for just your input in regards to the features on the competitive analysis between us and our competitors.
Thank you very much, Jason, for the opportunity, and thanks for your time, Cam-san, for showing your experience, and thanks everyone viewing us.
Yeah, no worries. It's good. Just, I mean, while we're waiting for anyone to ask questions, I've noticed my phone's beeping a couple of bits over there. So I think I might have had some of these viewers are contacting me directly via text message, which is fine. When's our next little webinar that we're doing, and what's that for? If you can remember off the top of your head.
The next webinar, well, I was originally planning on the 8th, which is a Wednesday this week, but however, I've gotten 2 flatbed installation myself, so I probably need to skip that. And the next one will be Monday next week, for the, some type of the application video for probably how we work better on the UV printer side of things, like how to stop silvering, prevent silvering, how you work on the pinch roller setting, bread setting, in those type of things. So still in the plan, But if you are interested, everyone watching us and joining us the Monday next week at the same time, and we prepare the value add webinar for everyone.
And I suppose don't forget, viewers, the lockdown procedure video webinar that we will be doing on the week of the 13th. I think that's an important one for our dealer network as well as our end users who actually ask those questions on a yearly basis. But we will be showing customers how to put their devices in a sleep mode over the Christmas break. So that's probably one of the key videos that we will be watching, viewing on the week of the 13th. So stay tuned for that one as well.
Sorry, Jason, I've just had one of our watchers who sent me a text message, doesn't have the microphone on their computer.
Yep.
They have two questions for us. So one of them was the connectivity side of things through our machines. So in our SR3 range, it's USB, Ethernet, and your old school serial ports through there. With the FX, it's the USB side of things. And I think in the Plus model as well, we've now added the Ethernet connection through there. Their second question was on the SR3, was regarding the stand. So yeah, it's an optional stand. We don't do the SR360 with the stand. It's only those bigger models that'll come stock standard with the stands. So yeah, it's an optional extra. And as well, for all of the machines, there are media baskets for them as optional extras from there. So, and obviously, just to add to that, like I said, you can add extra roll holders to the FX range as well. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of the entry levels, the CG60SR3 is basically desktop cutter. And it is not, I mean, it's designed to take longer rolls and things like that, but I guess it's more for the cutting the vinyl, the colored vinyls, as well as the dye sublimation heat transfer side of the business as well. It is for that home decor market, but it obviously can be put on a stand, to give you that little bit of production. But anything larger and anything else like that, we obviously would highly recommend the CG FX Plus series.
Yeah, and obviously those machines are just too big. No one would have a bench that big to put those sort of machines on there. So I know for us down here, Jace, I think we sell probably about, in the SR, I think it's about 50-60% of them go with the stand. I'm not sure what the ratio is for you guys up there, but yeah, like you said, quite easy just to put on the bench top next to your PC. So
yep, cool. All right, so we've waited a couple more minutes. Did you get any more questions via text, Cam?
No, that was the only one that I've got there. So
got my phone on silent. I'm not, so I'll just double check. No.
Yeah,
unless it's an email, I'm not quite sure, but no, that's fine. All right, so we might end the presentation. We do thank our viewers for joining us in today in regards to the webinar on the cutters, and obviously an introduction of Cam and into our business over the last couple of years. No doubt, like Tomo-san just said, that Wednesday's webinar has been postponed due to the nice thing is due to a flatbed being installed this week, which is quite good. We are quite busy. We are doing the technical training on the JFX 600 this week, which has taken a couple of our engineers offline for this week. And unfortunately, fortunately for us and our business, obviously Tomo-san is an engineer himself, not only just a general manager of our business, but his technical skills that he's brought to the business as well. So he will be doing an install for us on behalf of us. So thank you, Tomo, for that. So we will say goodbye if we've got no more people asking us any more questions, and we do thank you for joining in. And feel free to show this presentation or forward this presentation on to the local staff within the dealer network, or alternatively our customers.
Beautiful. Thanks very much, Jason. I really appreciate the time there, and thank you as well, Tomo. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned, and happy selling.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.